Hey y'all, Jeff here, still at home, but I've been seeing your sprites. They're amazing. Some amazing animations coming in. They're incredible. Welcome back. And okay, I can edit it. You've made all these cool sprites. Now let's put them where they belong in a video game. So we're gonna work on Scratch today. Let's get started. Okay, so first you are going to go to scratch.mit.edu, and that is the Scratch web page. Scratch is an open source web-based platform where you can create video games and other interactive experiences very simply. So first you're going to have to join Scratch, so click on that to make an account. Yes, another account. So come up with a username, something you'll remember. I'll call this Jeff Demo account. You're going to have to type a password. So just something you'll remember, maybe something you've used before. It's up to you. So next, you will have to tell it what country you live in. It doesn't get any more specific than that. Promise. Scratch people will not be coming to your house. Okay, when were you born? Now you will all learn exactly just how old I actually am, which is quite ancient. Okay, you can tell it your gender if you want. I'm just going to say prefer not to say, because I don't think they deserve to know. Okay, and I'm going to put in my Beam Center email address, because that's the one I have open right now. Create your account. Before you get started, what you should do is make sure that you first confirm your Scratch account. So go back to your email, click on that email that you get from Scratch and say confirm account. Make sure you do this, because otherwise you won't be able to share your project with the rest of the class. Okay, so when you click that, you can click OK, let's go, and now you are in your account. There it is, Jeff Demo account. So I'm in there. Okay, so go to create to create a new project, and it should open it for you. And there it is. Okay, so here is your new project. This is what Scratch looks like. So this over here is the code library. That's where all the blocks of code are. You'll learn how to use those in a second. This is the costumes tab, so you'll see all the different frames of your sprite. Once you upload your sprite, it comes preloaded with this goofy Scratch cat that we're going to get rid of in a second. And that's the sounds tab, and we won't learn how to use that until next time. So let's take a look at this sprite. So your sprite's going to be here eventually, but we'll just look at this cat. So that's where the actual sprite is, down here. And you can name your sprite here, so I'll call it cat. Change the name. This is the location of the sprite on the screen here. So this is kind of like your preview window in Piskel, but this is the preview window of your actual game that you're making. So if we go to full screen, there it is. That's the game you're making. To start the game, you press the green flag. To stop the game, you press the stop sign shaped thing. Okay. So, and this is like a little mini preview. So if I move the sprite down here, you can see these numbers change to negative numbers. If I move them up here, the X and Y position change to positive numbers. And in the middle, somewhere closer to 0 for both numbers. So that's the position of the sprite, that's the name. This is whether the sprite is showing or hiding. And this is the size of the sprite. So right now it's 100, so what if we made it 300? Sprite gets huge. And if we make it, say, 30, the sprite gets tiny. Okay, so that's how you can change the size. And this says direction. That's the direction your sprite is pointed in at any given time. So if it's pointed downwards or sideways, you get the idea. Okay, so we're going to get rid of the sprite for now, so I'm going to click this garbage can. And you're going to want to upload your sprite from Piskel. So before we do that, you're going to have to download it from Piskel. So go to your account, find your sprite. I'm going to use this guy from last time that I showed you in my last video, which I named Zeptilion for some reason. And I'm going to download that. So I'm going to go to export, and I'm going to make sure to export it as a GIF. And you can export it at the tiniest size if you want. So download as GIF. Okay, I'm going to go back to Scratch, and I'm going to upload it. So I'm just going to hover over this little sprite guy here, and I'm going to go all the way up to Upload Sprite. And then I should be able to find that sprite in my Downloads folder, and double click on it, and there he is, Zeptilion. It uploaded, and there it is on the screen. I can move it around. You can see the little X and Y numbers changing. And if I go to Costumes, there are all my frames, right? There's the different walks I made, and here's the peace sign. Okay, so all the frames are there. The sprite is there. It's a little too small for me to see, so I'm going to make it 200. Right? So if I go to full screen, check it out. Yeah, that's a pretty good size for my sprite. Okay, so we need to rename these costumes because right now they're just Zeptilion followed by numbers. So those don't tell us anything, and we're going to want good names for these later. So I'm just going to rename these. I'm just going to call this Zep because it's just him standing there being normal.
I'm going to call this Step Up. I'm going to call this
and I'm going to call this one Peace. Okay, so now all these frames have names that tell me something, so I can choose them from a menu later. Great, so let's make a little mini video game where our sprite can move around on the screen using the arrow keys. So we're going to start using this coding tab. So if I click on my sprite, this window is where I'm going to place all my coding blocks. And the coding blocks are basically a set of instructions for your sprite that tell it what to do. And those instructions are going to rely on things happening that you do as the player of the game. So when you start the game, that's going to make something happen. When you press a key on the keyboard, that's going to make something else happen. And all those things that happen are going to be based on the coding block instructions that you put into your sprite in here. And you're going to pull them out of this coding library, right? All you do is click and drag them in there, and once they're in there, they're in there. And if you want to get rid of them, just drag them back over here, let it go, it'll disappear. So let's first make sure that when our game starts, when we click the green flag, our sprite is going to appear on the screen, and it's going to be in the costume, so in the frame that we want to see it in. We don't want to start our game, and we don't want our sprite to look like that already mid-walk. We want it to just look like that, normal. So let's do that. So the code library has all these different categories, and they pretty much do what their name suggests. So motion is everything that has to do with your sprite moving. Looks is everything that has to do with your sprite, how it looks, so what costume it's in or what frame of animation, how big or how small, etc. Sound is going to have to do with sound files. We'll do that next time. Events is like when something happens, like I start the game with the green flag is clicked, when a key is pressed. And control has to do with time and waiting and things repeating and different conditionals and stuff like that. We'll get into that a little bit, but not very much. So, but we are going to start with events because we want to make something happen when the green flag is clicked, when the game begins. So, get one of those starter blocks. It's a starter block because it's round on top. And you're going to say when green flag is clicked, and then go to looks, and you're going to say switch to costume Zep, because that's the one that I want him to appear in. I also want him to always go to the same part of the screen. I want him to say go to the middle. It says X5, Y30. So let's go to motion, and it says go to X5, Y30, which is where he is right now. So let's put that there. And then let's make sure that he's not disappeared. Let's make sure that he's showing on the screen. So let's go back to looks and say show. Okay, great. So if I move him over here and I make him invisible, when I start the game, he should show in the middle. Great, it works. Okay. Alright, so we've made it so that every time we start the game, the sprite starts in the middle of our screen. Okay, so now we want to make it so that the sprite can move when we press the arrow keys. So let's start a new set of blocks. Let's go back to events, and this time we're going to use a different starter block, which is when space key pressed. So I'm going to put that there. We don't want to use the space key, so we'll go into the drop down menu, and you have this choice of all these letters and number keys. We're going to use the right arrow to start. We're going to make him move to the right. Okay, so when that right arrow is pressed, we want him to point in the correct direction, which is to the right. So you're going to use the point in direction block, and it's already set to 90, which is to the right. It happens. So that's good. So point and then move. So we're going to use the move 10 steps, which is basically move 10 pixels. So if that works, when we press the green flag, let's test it out. Yeah, and it's working. But then he goes off the screen. So we're going to need another special motion block, which is the if on edge bounce block. Try it again. Boom, he bounced. Okay, perfect. All right, so this is great. It moves. However, we need it so that he animates when he walks, because we made these really nice frames in Piskel and we want to use them. So let's go to looks, and let's get our old friend, the switch costume to block. And let's actually put that between point and direction and move. And let's change it to, I'm going to use the big walk frame. Okay, so let's try it out. Okay, but now he's stuck on that frame. We need him to go back to the other frame to make it look like he's actually walking, right? It needs to go back and forth in order to animate. So we're going to get another one of those and set that back so that he always returns back to that ZEP frame. So let's try it out. Now the problem is that this is all happening too fast at the speed of a computer. So we need to make it wait in between these costumes. So let's go to Control and get a wait block. So we're going to put that after that first costume switch, and I'm going to get another wait, and I'm going to put that after the second costume switch. And actually I'm going to go to motion, and I'm going to get another move 10 steps so that it'll move a little bit both times it switches costumes. Let's try it out. It's because it's waiting a whole second. So let's make that be 0.1 seconds. Great. 0.1 seconds. Now let's try it out. Green flag. Now that is a good walk. Great. Cool. Okay, and he's bouncing. Okay, so how are we going to make it so that he goes to the left when we press the left arrow? Very simply, you don't need to build this whole stack of blocks again. You can just click on the top block here, and our old buddies Control C for copy and Control V for paste. And you have another set that's exactly the same. The only things you have to change are which key is being pressed. So let's change to left arrow, and which direction he's pointed in. So let's make it to the left, -90. Now if we try it out, he walks to the left, he walks to the right. Okay, so you can guess what we do next. We just paste two more of those. We'll put them down here. And you can actually zoom out using these little magnifying glasses, zoom in and out if you want to, or you can just scroll down. And let's make this down arrow and this be up arrow. So remember to change the direction, or you'll have a very confused player playing your game. And there it is. Your sprite moves to the left and right and up and down. So if we go to full screen, yeah, looks pretty good. Cool. Okay, so now we have to make sure you can share your project. Let's give it a title. We'll call it Zep's World. And going to make sure it's saved, so File, Save Now, Project Saved, and then click on Share. And there it is. This is what you want Mr. Klatsky and me and your fellow students to see when they click on your link. So this is the link you're going to share right here. This is the public page. So copy and paste this link right up here and share it in the document. Now, if you want to go back to editing, you just click C inside, and you can start to edit anything in here again. And if you want to go back to that page, you can click C project page. If you want to give instructions, move, zap around, have fun. Notes and credits. I want to make sure that I get credit for this amazing project by Jeff. Another thing you might want to do is add another frame into your walk. What if you have you wanted to make a 3-frame walk? So what if I wanted to use this frame? Maybe before he takes a step, he does this silly move. So I'm going to go back to my code, and really all you have to do is pull off one of these sequences, copy it, and paste it, right? Now you can add that back. And now, if I just change this frame to that one that I wanted to put in there, I can just insert that frame in here. And if I do it, copy, paste, paste. Now, I'll have a little bit more of a complicated walk, and you can see it more if I expand it. So now he's got kind of a funny shoulder shrugging walk. And if you hold down the key, you can just stroll around the screen. Cool. So now the last thing to do is just before you share this, maybe give a fun backdrop. So if you click on the stage is where you create all your backgrounds and backdrops. So let's just hover over this and go to the paintbrush and really quickly give him some kind of, I don't know, backdrop. I'm going to convert to bitmap. This is this crazy dimension that this character lives in. Cool. Yeah. Make sure you save. Alright, good luck everybody. I can't wait to see your work. Take care of yourselves. Until next time.